What's up, your boy Domuto. We're back with another video. Today we're watching Saiyan. You know what I'm saying? What if Universe 6 and 7 merged? You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? We on part 11, so we almost done. We got a few parts left, but the story's really good. The story is really, really good, and yeah, and you know what I'm saying? We'll get into it. I don't know why we talking. Why we talking? You know what I'm saying?
Saiyans, Broly and Kale, who are hybrids of Universe 7 and Universe 6 Saiyans. The only ones that their kind, it seems. While Gohan, Piccolo, Granola, and Hit encountered them, the other 4 Saiyans were all training with Beerus, unlocking a new power beyond Super Saiyan God.
Yes, sir.
But where's everyone going to go from here? We'll be seeing all that and more in this part 11 of What If Universe 6 and 7 were merged. Following the encounter on Vampa, Hit and Granola go back off on their own, doing freelance work and such like normal. This was an interesting experience and a great test of their new powers. And they're also surprised to see how much Piccolo and Gohan have grown. It's especially surprising to Hit because he knew that Piccolo was the strongest at some point, but he'd more so been focused on Goku. Maybe he needs to keep an eye on the others too. As for Broly and Kale, they end up coming with the Galactic Patrol. Piccolo and Gohan are going to try and tame their power. As for Paragus, he'll be there too, but mainly be under watch. He's not going to be arrested or anything. They just got to try and cool him down. But Gohan and Piccolo see great potential in Broly and Kale's power, wondering what could be done for the two of them for them to train. These two are actually not brutal Saiyans. They just have uncontrollable anger, and that kind of does make them brutal, but not consciously, of course.
Right.
Piccolo could see that Paragus probably misled them somehow and controlled them all their life, basically. And maybe with some proper teaching, they could actually grow from that. Gohan offers to train them too. Besides, he had to overcome his own anger and try and control that too, try and harnessing that power and such. He's already kind of been through this and wonders if he could help them with the same sort of experience. A few months pass and eventually the other Saiyans do return to Earth. By now they of course all have Super Saiyan Blue, and Beerus is pretty pleased with their growth. But he does want to see what's been going on here as well, mainly coming here because he wants to get some more food. He figured out that Champa's been coming here for visits once in a while, so Beerus wants to make sure he's not taking all the food for himself or gatekeeping anything.
That's funny.
Kappa asks if he's really worried about that, but Beerus says he's never seen a god of destruction eat. Champa's very defensive over his food, and so is Beerus. And Beerus wants to make sure he's truly experiencing everything Earth can offer. But all the Saiyans are looking forward to continue growing in the realm of gods, wondering what new heights they could ascend to next. Goku and Kappa follow Whis' training a lot more closely than Vegeta and Caulifla do, with Whis trying to teach them something like moving automatically, whatever that is. One thing to note here is that while Kappa and Caulifla have greater potential than Goku and Vegeta, it's not significant enough to make a difference because Goku and Vegeta are prodigies in their own right here still. And their potential isn't going to be as overpowered here either. If they grew as quickly as they did in the main story, we'd be having a much different discussion right now.
Yeah.
Goku and Vegeta are also more experienced fighters. This keeps them all around a similar strength. I would say Kappa is the strongest of the group though because he has a nice experience with martial arts, maybe not to the level of Goku, but more so than Vegeta and Caulifla. And he has that great Sadal and Saiyan potential working for him as well.
Right.
But even though he's the strongest, it's not really by much. All of them are still pretty similar in terms of power. They each have their own advantages working for themselves. And once they're back on Earth, they learn some new Saiyans have been found, which is amazing because they weren't aware that any other Saiyans were out there. Even stranger is the fact that they're pure hybrids, Sadalin and Vegetan. Gohan and Piccolo say they are pretty strong, but they don't really want them fighting right now because they can't really control their power. Goku says it can't be that bad, but Gohan promises it is that bad. And from what Vegeta's hearing, he wonders if that means they're legendary Super Saiyans or something like that. The two of them are pretty shy and don't talk much. Caulifla kind of takes a liking to Kale though, while Vegeta and Goku are interested in seeing more of Broly's power. But after hearing about their power, Kappa's really not too sure about either of them though, especially being with the Galactic Patrol. That could cause some issues. They're not actually working with the Galactic Patrol though, just basically training there. Gohan, Piccolo, and Mayris have been keeping an eye on them. And it has been a few months since this all happened, so they have grown a little bit. But they still don't really have too much of a control on their power. And that makes Vegeta think a little bit more about it. Maybe they are actually legendary Super Saiyans, and their unique DNA explains why they are that way, especially being fraternal twins, which is also pretty rare among Saiyans. They're fraternal twins, and they're pure Saiyan hybrids. They probably are the only of their kind to ever exist.
True.
But for now, they're still going to remain with the patrol, with Mayris basically keeping a watch over them. They live on Earth, but they're basically...
I like how you flip that Broly.
Same for Paragus too, because they really want to keep a close eye on him. But it hasn't been just that. This entire time, Gohan and Piccolo have been training with Mayris as well again. And they've made use of something pretty interesting with the Galactic Patrol. They have some room where you can go in where you could train for 3 days in 1 day. Of course, it's not as crazy as Earth's time chamber. But still, it's obviously a very efficient way to train. And now with all that under their belt, Gohan and Piccolo do want to see what the other Saiyans have been up to. Goku decides he's going to go first and show it off, and then the others tell him to wait as they all transform as well, trying to be the first one to show off this power. All of them stand there in Super Saiyan Blue. And Gohan's pretty intrigued. He never actually got that since he was working towards something else with Mayris. And he chuckles and tells them it's a secret for now since he can't really maintain it too well at the moment. But maybe he'll show them some other time.
Shit.
For now, he's really just stuck with Super Saiyan
shit.
God. And Goku says that's funny. He didn't really expect Mayris to be that great of a teacher.
By
shit. Now they actually do know his identity. Of course, he doesn't say this right to Mayris, but he does think Whis would be better, because Whis is also trying to teach them something beyond Super Saiyan Blue. But Goku still isn't too sure of what it is. It's something about moving their body on instinct alone, Vegeta and Caulifla weren't really too interested in it, but Kappa and him are training for it. That's interesting for Gohan to hear. That actually sounds really familiar. And he's about to ask Goku more about it, but then Piccolo decides to show off his new form. The other Saiyans can't believe it either. It's been a pretty fun form showcase. Even though Gohan and Piccolo aren't getting the same training as them, it still seems like their training, and of course their latent potential, is still pretty effective here. It makes sense with Piccolo basically being the fusion of the entire planet of Namek. And they do wonder how that planet's doing. All the Namekians that died were revived, of course. Although the ones that were fused into Piccolo couldn't be separated, obviously.
Right.
And Piccolo does hope to return someday. But during this meeting on Earth, Jaco then rushes out with Maris. And then a communicator that Kappa has starts beeping too. Jaco says he's glad that everyone's here too. The Galactic Patrol might need their help. And Kappa asks what's going on, but Maris explains. It's all regarding the Galactic Patrol's strongest prisoner. His cell has been destroyed, and horrifyingly enough, they see empty cells around it as well. Does that mean multiple people have broken out? Actually, no. Only that strong prisoner escaped. The empty cells around him, they had husk of the people that were in there before. They didn't escape. They were killed. Their power was drained. It's their strongest prisoner, Moro, that escaped. And he was trying to make it pretty quick. Thanks to Majin Buu's revival, he actually gained a good amount of magic back. Only temporarily though, but he sat on it, trying to build up a little bit more energy before his escape. And now was the time to do so. He worked quickly. Instead of breaking out into the vacuum of space, he broke into the prison, getting close enough to other cells around him so he could absorb their energy, taking some extra power alongside him. It's all thanks to the universal merge, especially with the Kais being freed from Buu. That allowed a little bit of his power to return, just enough for him to make this escape. He's not even aware of what happened, but as he looks into it, he's eventually able to figure out what occurred. Interesting. It seems the two universes are one now. With all the extra power held by Buu and the Kais in this universal merge, Moro's seal was also stronger, and when it was broken, he gained a little bit of that residual energy. It had to go somewhere after all. This could make for a pretty interesting feast. While everyone on Earth hears the news from the Galactic Patrol, the Kais of course all gather together and figure out what to do here. This is a really big threat. The Kais from Universe 6 don't really like how Universe 7's always causing the issues, but they have been made aware of this a while ago. They try and figure out what's going on too, and they theorize Moro somehow got stronger from the merge.
All the Universe 7 people are
caused by that thanks to Buu.
causing all this trouble. That makes sense.
He didn't even realize that that seal had been broken, and somehow even more energy returned to him when that seal was broken too. This definitely has to be a result of Buu's.
Damn, I just thought about. Damn, that makes so much sense now. That's why, okay, because Universe 7 have most of the trouble. That's why, the Universe 6 Saiyans, they never had, they never turned Super Saiyan. They never had, nothing crazy happen. Because Frost was, even though he was a bad guy, he was shown as being a good guy. So they had no problems with Frost. And, yeah, I can't think of nobody else in that fucking... Yeah, okay, that makes so much sense.
Buu was stronger after all by default too. All they know is now, they need to do whatever they can to stop him. Nobody knows, but right now, he's heading towards New Namek. He aims to eat the entire Megaverse and take all the power within it. The Kais will need the help of Beerus and Champa though. The Grand Supreme Kai is a little bit weaker than before thanks to Buu, and Moro is stronger, so his sealing alone won't work. Even if they combine all the Kai's power together, they're not sure if they'll gather enough in time. By now, Moro could have already grown exponentially stronger. Plus, Shin and Fuwa can't directly fight either anyways, because if they die, then the Gods of Destruction die, and surely Moro would probably know about that. That would only play into his plans. Beerus and Champa are contacted, and they think it's best to just erase him. Although at the same time, they don't think he's a big enough threat now to resort to that. They are more than confident in their power, so if he does grow stronger, then they could just definitely erase him by then. Also, Beerus thinks this is a good test for the other Saiyans, and he actually has an alternate solution with the Kais. Something that's equally permanent, but also will have more advantages, as opposed to simply Hakkaiing him. And they're not even aware of it, but right now, the Saiyans are already on their way to Planet Namek. The Galactic Patrol already left before the gods started discussing it. They're not even aware that the Galactic Patrol is going right for them. They get all the Saiyans on Earth, as well as Piccolo obviously, and they even pick up Hit and Granola along the way. Maris is a bit concerned because they're bringing a lot of people there, and Moro could just steal all their power. But they might have a plan to try and stop him. Plus, they kind of are going to need that power because by now, Moro's already made it to New Namek. Without having Goku being able to use instant transmission, they get to Namek a little bit later.
Shit.
By the time they arrive, Moro has already summoned the Dragon Balls there, gaining his youth back. Maris wonders why Beerus and Champa aren't involved. He gets why the Kais aren't here, but why are they not here too? They must have some other plan, because they could easily stop this, and they definitely are taking things more seriously recently because of everything with Zeno. Ever since the Megaversal merge, they wanted to do that. So he hopes they're taking this seriously too, but he's not too sure, knowing their history, at least having heard it from Whis and Vados. Everybody steps off the ship. Broly and Kale have actually come along too, but they watch from the inside, not involved in the fight. They wish they could have gotten here faster, but of course with no instant transmission, and without knowing where New Namek was, it did take a little bit longer even though they made haste. But it wasn't nearly quick enough. New Namek is already dead, a husk of its former self. They see energy emanating off the entire planet too. Moro's taking the last bits of it. And not just that, Galactic Patrol prisoners are showing up left and right. Kappa and Maris got word of this on the way there, and Kappa and Caulifla decide they're going to work to stop them. Goku and Vegeta did want to fight Moro at first, but Cabba warns against it. They shouldn't fight him. Their energy could give Moro a lot of power. He would prefer that these two help against the other prisoners. Goku's a bit bummed about it, but he understands. And Vegeta doesn't know what to think, but fine, he'll go along with it because Mayris is agreeing too. But he asks about the other four, and Mayris says he plans to have them fight Moro. Apparently they have some sort of plan. Gohan, Piccolo, Granola, and Hit could actually work together against him. Everyone's still trying to clarify things about him. Caulifla's a bit surprised too because she knew about this prisoner but barely did any work at the Galactic Patrols, so she asks Cabba why he's such a big deal. And Cabba explains a little more. They don't know his exact goal. It might simply just be eating everything. But he's already briefed them on his abilities. For now, they'll just stop the prisoners, and Cabba hopes that the other group will be able to stop Moro while knowing his abilities. But apparently they have a way to work around it. Gohan's group flies across the planet, meeting Moro where he is right now.
Okay.
And Moro greets them. He doesn't know who they are, but welcomes them here. They're definitely not native to this planet, and he wonders why they're here, but he won't really question it. He assumes they're here to stop him, but he says it's far too late. But this is good because he has more snacks here now. They do seem powerful after all. Granola's slate powers up and both his eyes turn red, as he tries to analyze every little bit of Moro. This is good. He might have found a place where he could strike him. He and Hit start out by attacking, actually catching Moro by surprise. Pretty quickly, he's able to tell that they're doing something with controlling time. He tries to take energy from them, but it's a little bit tough because they're just moving around without him being able to do anything. Their time skip by now is even greater, and pure progress has made them grow even stronger than before too.
Okay.
And now they've evolved their time control even beyond that. They've gained some pretty good new abilities, and not only could they just time skip now, they can actually stop time briefly. And this is really helpful for their attacks, especially with Granola being able to locate vital points within Moro. This actually does injure him. He's amused. They're pretty smart, but he's growing stronger throughout the fight. He's still absorbing some energy left over from this planet, and he's going to take a little bit from them too. But Granola says it doesn't matter. He and Hit together will be able to defeat him, especially with the help of Gohan and Piccolo. Piccolo decides they might need to pull out their trump card immediately. And Moro wonders what those two are capable of. What, are they going to control time as well? Actually, no. The two complete their power-up. Not much has changed physically, but their aura, it's pretty intense. And you can see their eyes. They've slightly changed color, and they have a dead gaze within them. They look completely emotionless. This is the result of their training with Mayris. This is Ultra Instinct Omen. They don't really have too much of good control on it now, but they could transform into it willingly, and here it might be good to fight Moro. And this group is actually the perfect counter for him. Granola and Hit's ability to control time allows them to attack pretty effectively, also kind of working against Moro's magic. And of course, Gohan and Piccolo using Ultra Instinct Omen works the same way it did for Goku when he fought Moro using that form. Moro has been growing stronger throughout the fight and actually did take some energy from Granola and Hit, but he also did take some damage thanks to the vital points being hit. But now he's losing, pretty badly in fact. The four of them are pretty much immune to Moro's magic now. Not actually immune, but he can't really do too much against them. And not just that, they work together too. Granola and Hit take Gohan and Piccolo in a time skip, just like they were doing against Broly and Kale before. They're able to take them along when they're skipping time or stopping time. Although the time skipping doesn't really help much because Gohan and Piccolo are fast enough anyways to even outspeed them. Their time stop is actually a little bit more effective here. And meanwhile, the Super Saiyan Blues are actually doing pretty well against the prisoners. And Kappa's pretty happy. They're gonna get all these prisoners back to the prison, and he thinks that the others are gonna be able to defeat Moro.
Right.
The prisoners are powerful because Moro did give them some energy. And thankfully right now he's too preoccupied to take their energy.
Super Saiyan Blue?
They're making pretty good progress at defeating the prisoners. And it seems like a victory is assured here. They're gonna defeat Moro. And it's all gonna work out easily. But they do wonder what Gohan's group is up to right now. And Moro is actually losing ground, pretty quickly in fact. But all Moro needs is one opening. He just needs one small opening, and he knows how he could win here. And he gets that. He unleashes a bunch of energy around him, flinging everyone back. Gohan and Piccolo dodge easily, but Granola and Hit, they're a little bit more vulnerable. And this is a great distraction. Moro uses this to then strike Granola, piercing right through his chest.
Ooh.
One time skipper down, and he takes all of Granola's energy too while he's at it. He then flings up lava around all of them. But once the lava dissipates, he's gone. Granola's just left there on the ground bleeding out. Moro's actually flying across the planet now to where the other prisoners are. He's mad at himself for getting too cocky there, but this will assure his victory. The Super Saiyan Blues continue fighting, but they're starting to feel weakened and start powering down. And all the remaining prisoners collapse as well, completely being drained of all their energy. Goku weakly looks up in the sky and says that Moro's coming for them. He then collapses, followed by Vegeta and Caulifla, with Cabba being the last one conscious. Moro simply smiles at him and thanks him for the energy, as he holds a ball of ki in front of him and eats it. Cabba collapses to the ground, and Moro has one more trump card that he could pull out. After all, they were using their trump card too, so Moro should pull out his trump card as well. This will assure victory, and assure that he gets to eat the entire Megaverse. Gohan's group flies over, with Hit bringing Granola back to the ship. Mayris does have some senzu beans there. Gohan and Piccolo are the only ones that see Moro right now. They see him from behind, but Moro slowly turns around. It looks like he's eating someone, and then he transforms completely. If Granola and Hit were here right now, they'd know what's going on. Same for Cabba and Caulifla if they were conscious. But it looks like he ate some prisoner and they don't know who it is. Moro uses this opportunity to eat 7-3, absorbing him and now having all of his powers. He admits to them that they almost won there. Had he not seen that opening, they probably would have killed him pretty easily. But now this pretty much seals the deal, as he then quickly vanishes behind Gohan and Piccolo, grabbing onto both their necks.
Damn.
Fascinating. These powers are pretty nice. He then stretches his arms out and drives them into the ground below, absorbing their energy while he's at it. He then turns around to see Hit and Granola are there alongside Maris, and he thanks them for making this so easy for him. The three of them see the gems on Moro and realize what happened. Did he absorb 7-3 somehow? Moro then stretches his arms again, grabbing onto Hit and Granola. They then fall to the ground having their energy drained too, and Maris can't believe what he's watching. The Galactic Patrol ship floats nearby as well, with Broly and Kale watching through a window, and Moro tells Maris to deliver a message for them. When they're stronger, come find him. He'd love to have another snack and absorb their energy again. That's why he left everyone alive.
Damn.
Now might be a good time to test his abilities. He then vanishes from sight. He doesn't teleport away though, it's just everything changes all at once. Maris looks around. All the prisoners that were once there, they're turned into husk now. He can't see Moro anywhere. In that instant, he briefly stopped time, rapidly moving around and taking the remainder of everyone's energy, completely killing the rest of the prisoners around him. And it takes Maris a second to realize what happened. He did that same weird twitch that Hit does when he does his time skip. But it wasn't just simply that, he completely stopped time. He must have attacked during that time stop. Maris rushes to wake everybody back up, glad that they aren't dead. But now, they really need to work quickly and figure out what to do next. Yeah. Moro might be too strong to defeat at this point. And who knows what's going to happen next? How strong could he truly grow, and what is his plan? We'll be seeing that in the next part. This is Sleep. Although with that much power, he is using a lot of energy and is getting a bit hungry. He does note that his body is having a hard time maintaining the power too. So he's in a weird situation where he wants to eat more, but he also doesn't want to overwhelm himself. He doesn't have perfect control over this body yet, but he will get that. Going around nearby solar systems, absorbing them without any effort. They make for such great snacks. It's going to be a nice way to tide him over until everyone else shows up again. The entire Megaverse will be his next, and then the multiverse itself. The best part about all this new power is the fact that he has access to so many different abilities. The regeneration in Namekians, the intense godly ki of the Saiyans, Gohan's Ultra Instinct, hitting Granola's time warping abilities, as well as Granola's improved eyesight. And that's exactly why the power is so hard for him to maintain at the moment. But he has some time to himself. He can get better acclimated to this body and have it contain even more power. Maybe he could even merge with the multiverse itself, rather than simply just eating it. It's not out of the question, and that's actually what he aims to do now. He causes havoc around nearby galaxies. Back on the destroyed Namek, everyone is trying to monitor his movements. They could sense him even from that far away. The amount of energy he's giving off is incredible, and he's moving so rapidly too. Vados and Whis then appear on the planet next, with the Saiyans wondering if they're here to help, but obviously they can't fight. That's not why they're here. They're here to basically help them see what's going on. The angels are basically just here to deliver a message. The gods are working on a way to stop Moro. After all, after the whole multiversal merge, they do want to take their jobs more seriously, and that includes Beerus and Champa, even though they don't lift a finger too much.
Right.
Louise tells them that the gods are actually doing something here. Vados then pulls out her staff and projects an image of Moro towards the others. They watch as he flies around, only taking seconds to absorb entire solar systems.
Damn.
He's gone mad with power, and his hunger's grown out of control too. And with everything he eats, every moon, every planet, every star, every solar system, his power is ever increasing. And rather than using it to just power himself up, he's using this power to fortify his body, helping it contain all the other power he's gained. Well, they have an idea of what he's doing, and they already kind of knew what he was up to, so why are the angels here anyways? But Whis tells them to watch closely. Moro continues his rampage, but then stops midair, as if he senses something coming towards him. A powerful aura surrounds him as he taps into Ultra Instinct. This isn't the full Ultra Instinct either, it's just Omen because that's all Gohan had.
Right.
But it's enough for him to dodge 2 attacks, as 2 fast purple beams of light comes towards him. Floating there out in the vacuum of space is Beerus and Champa.
Okay.
Moro's a bit surprised to actually see them here. He didn't expect them to get involved in the fight. But this could be interesting. Imagine if you were to take the powers of God of Destruction. Not just 1, 2 of them actually. That could be truly amazing.
That'd
and their
be
power must be
fucking
delicious.
disgusting.
He's salivating over the thought of how much power they have.
That
It's going to be a truly great
too
feast.
strong.
And Beerus commends Moro for his effort. His power is truly astonishing. And honestly, Beerus isn't sure if any of the mortals will be able to defeat him. Even if they all combine their powers together, it seems this magician has grown too powerful. But Champa says they're going to have to put a stop to it. They already had one problem with Zeno and they don't want another. Besides, if Moro destroys all the planets around them, who's going to have any good food left? The only ones who should go around the universe destroying and eating things are them. And Moro laughs at this. What are they supposed to do then? It's like they said, he's grown so powerful now that the other mortals can't defeat him. He doesn't assume the gods of destruction are much higher up, but even if they are, he should surpass them by now. And Beerus says he's right. But there's 2 things Moro should know about. First of all, his power is great, but his body can't contain the power. It's already overflowing out of him, and they could tell that Moro is struggling to maintain it. His aura itself is so powerful and is leaking so much ki that it illuminates entire galaxies around him as his energy flows out in every direction.
Right.
The aura itself is even dangerous. The closer someone gets to Moro, the more damage the aura causes just because there's so much energy flowing out of him at once. It's explosive. And they don't think that Moro can maintain that power for too long. More importantly though, they address what Moro said about the gods of destruction. By now, he's actually stronger than most gods of destruction. Beerus says they definitely would have a challenge, and it would take at least 2 or 3 of them to defeat him, which makes the magician smile.
Yeah, that's
But
strong.
they probably can't defeat him either, right? It's hopeless. But Champa says that they were just talking about other gods of destruction. These 2, they're different. They've been training with their angels for hundreds of years now. The others have even seen it on Beerus' planet. Ever since the Universal merged, they didn't want to get more serious after all. Beerus says they can't blame Moro for not knowing because the gods never really do fight, especially Beerus and Champa, who are so far above the others. But they tell him he's going to get a nice treat before he dies. He's going to see the full wrath of these twin destroyers, something that most people won't ever get to see in their lives. They tell him to consider it an honor that they even have to use this power against him. They're especially mad that Moro is destroying all their food sources though, and Beerus doesn't want his rivals to be destroyed by him either. They're going to be fighting with nothing held back. Not because they want to use their full power, but because their anger is basically making them use it. Their ki swells up, overwhelming Moro's. His aura is pushed back, destroyed by the raw destructive power from theirs. Moro tries to power up a little bit more too, activating his cerulean red eyes, combining it with the power of Ultra Instinct as well. He tells these two they're fools to stand up against him. In that brief moment when he stopped time, he made sure to take everybody's powers. They're up against an entire arsenal of abilities. And he's glad that he's going to get to fight them. They'll make for delicious snacks, and a great test for his strength right now. His power is so grand that they won't surpass him, no matter how much they bluff about their powers. But there's one thing Moro doesn't address. They're right. His power is going to overflow if he keeps fighting like this. He doesn't want to overload himself. The energy's too much and he needs to fortify his body even more. By fighting, that's taking away from that. But he has no choice, although this will be a great battle because he'll be able to get all of their abilities as well. The twins vanish from sight, then appearing on either side of Moro as he blocks both their attacks at once. A punch from Beerus and a kick from Champa. They begin dashing around the universe, flying at such immense speeds that they can only be tracked by waves and bottoms. And Moro's having a tough time. He's desperately trying to dodge their attacks, but also trying to attack them as well. This Ultra Instinct isn't perfect. He can't dodge every attack, especially because he's facing two of them at once. And Moro's at his full power, but he can tell that they're not right now. But Granola's eyesight kinda does help him. He's able to see vital points on Beerus and Champa, trying his best to strike them. But they're so quick, it won't work. The only way he can do it is by completely stopping time. Which is something that he can't do in rapid succession. It's something that kinda does take a lot of energy out of him because he hasn't really experienced this much. He briefly stops time, only for half a second. But at the speeds they're moving, that's an immense amount of time. And in that split second, he lands thousands of punches on Beerus, all aimed at different vital points. And at the same time, with his other hand, he launches thousands of blasts at Champa, also aimed at vital points. But somehow, even in the stop time, they're still able to move. What the hell is this? Are they so fast that they even transcend that? As time starts flowing normally again, Moro is hit at rapid speeds by both of them. His attacks actually did damage them a bit, but they also damaged Moro. His body's growing more unstable. And when he did make contact with Beerus, Beerus' aura actually did hurt him a bit. Beerus says they're not stupid. They surrounded themselves with their raw destructive energy. And sure, some of his attacks made it through, but most didn't. Champa barely took any damage.
Okay, I like this.
Even though Beerus did take some more, that means Moro took some of his own because he actually made contact. Moro desperately tries to survive. This is what he'll do. Next time, he'll stop time, and he'll be able to grab onto one of their necks. He'll coat his arm in so much energy that their destructive power won't be able to destroy his arm. He'll steal their powers and use it against them. This fight is so explosive that it's leaving permanent scars on the Megaverse. There's brilliant streaks of light left behind from wherever everybody's flying, and from when they strike each other. And Beerus and Champa are trying to control themselves. They need to balance out each other's power. One of them alone could actually take on Moro pretty easily, but there's a reason there's two of them here. For example, if Beerus was just fighting alone, his destructive power would be more than enough to get rid of Moro. But it would be so explosive that it would probably destroy the multiverse.
Right.
Not just this Megaverse, but every other universe around them. They've dealt with this before, and now they know how to work around it. That's why Champa's there to balance it out. With every action Beerus takes, Champa takes an inverse action. This means they are limiting themselves a bit, but they're still able to use immense power. In this way, the universe itself isn't at risk. Sure, there's a couple scars here and there, but nothing that can't be fixed later, especially for what they have in mind. Moro only has one shot at this. He charges all of his energy and stops time once more, this time extending it to a full second. And again, at the speed they're fighting, that's basically an eternity. And amidst the time stop, he channels all of his power into one hand, trying to fortify it and protect it as much as possible. His body's already growing unstable, and he needs to expel the power somehow. But at the same time, if he can get access to their powers, that'll help him kill them quickly. It'll let him survive this encounter and continue onwards. He reaches a hand out, going right through Beerus' aura and grabbing his neck. Or at least, that's the plan. Beerus' aura suddenly flares up even more, and he turns back looking at Moro. Did he really think that stopping time would work on people as fast as themselves? Moro's arm is scorched by Beerus' aura, but he grabs onto Moro's arm, completely destroying it. And then Moro feels a hand on his other arm. Time resumes, and then Champa's there. Both of his arms have been destroyed, with Beerus simply lifting a finger up, then poking the gem on his head, cracking it as an overwhelming amount of energy flows out, with a geyser of ki launching across the universe from it, raising anything in its path. Moro's body begins morphing, unable to contain the power. This can't be happening. He got too greedy, but he didn't expect it to be like this. He thought he'd be able to maintain this
dumbass.
Power. But his last sight is the twin brothers standing together, charging all their power together, each with a hand outstretched. They tell Moro that he clearly doesn't know who he's dealing with. He shouldn't have underestimated them. Moro's aura is completely crushed, overwhelmed by the aura of Beerus and Champa. And it's not just that, the aura is erased. The power just does not exist now. But they do commend him. They actually had to go full power here, which made the battle much more fun than they expected. If he weren't facing the two strongest gods of destruction, He might have won. He might have been able to absorb the multiverse, and he definitely would have beat them then. But that's not happening here. Not today, not ever. Because now Moro is going to be gone permanently, with each launching a combined Hakai, completely erasing the magician, leaving nothing left. Champa turns to Beerus and says that was a good battle, and Beerus is impressed. It's been a while since they had to use that strength, and it was nice fighting alongside Champa for once. He wouldn't have thought that Champa would have gotten to this level. But Champa reminds him, they're twins. Of course they're going to be close to each other.
Right.
Back on Namek,
Right.
everyone's
I
just
guess
watching
so.
in disbelief. With Whis and Vados happy that it's over. Looks like their lords got it done just like they said. But Vegeta asks, if they could have gotten involved this whole time, why'd they wait until now? Well, Whis says they did want to get involved at first, but there was an issue. For one, they wanted to make sure any damage could be restored. Namek's Dragon Balls were gone, and as for Earth and Cereal, their Dragon Balls probably wouldn't have been strong enough. So they gathered the Super Dragon Balls while everyone else was fighting Moro. They actually did think the mortals would have been able to beat him, but they didn't realize he had that much power in store. The Super Dragon Balls are basically a backup plan. They didn't want to fight the battle for the mortals off the bat, but at a certain point, Moro did become their issue, so they didn't really have a choice. And that's where the two are headed right now. They're getting the Super Dragon Balls because they got them in a safe place. Not only did they have to gather them, but they had to make sure they were really far away from Moro. Especially because by the time they got them, Moro had already grown so much stronger. Imagine how powerful he would have been if he got the Super Dragon Balls, whether that meant absorbing them for himself or using a wish from them. And yeah, they kind of did cause more damage by going this route, but it doesn't matter to them because in the end, they're able to use the Super Dragon Balls to restore everything, healing all the scars that Moro created, as well as restoring all the planets and the people that were destroyed. But then Kappa brings up a pretty good question. If they had the Super Dragon Balls and they're that powerful, why didn't they ever restore the universes? Why did they keep them merged? Whis and Vados laugh. That's a little beyond them. But, just as I mentioned in the first part, it's actually because of Zeno. Thinking it would be pretty entertaining to see two universes merge into one. So, they just kept the Megaverse as is.
Okay.
But this is the first time that the Super Dragon Balls have been used in a long while. Champa and Beerus then come to Namek too, telling the mortals not to get any ideas. They only used it because they didn't really have any other option to restore the universe. However, while the mortals won't be using the Super Dragon Balls for themselves, this will have consequences. It's been so long since they've been used, and Super Shenron has a pretty noticeable presence. Also from the aftermath of this, Goku is now going to try and replicate Ultra Instinct after having seen it once. He thinks he could probably pull it off. He is good at copying things after all, and Cabba wants to work with Goku to attain it. Vegeta and Caulifla though aren't really too interested. They're more so interested in the God of Destruction abilities that Champa and Beerus are showing off. Wondering if the two destroyers will be able to show them.
That's fire.
That battle was
That's
awesome.
fire.
Caulifla's hyped up and really wants to get
I can see
that power for
Caulifla with
himself.
that.
And of course Vegeta's intrigued. But everything's back to normal thankfully, and hopefully they're not going to encounter a strong enemy like Moro again. He was far too powerful. The mortals had no hope of defeating him. And, if left unchecked, even the destroyers wouldn't be able to kill him. He already surpassed most of them, but thankfully Champa and Beerus are much stronger. Back on Earth one day, Piccolo's meditating like normal, watching as Gohan is training Broly and Kale, trying to get them to control their power. They're making some great progress, but Gohan says they still have a long way to go, although he's glad at how much they're growing. They're grateful for this because they've always been kind of scared of their power, and Gohan tells them not to worry. They'll be able to get a grasp on it soon. Besides, if anything does go wrong, they have Gohan and Piccolo here to stop it. As Piccolo's meditating, he gets even deeper in thought. There's so many questions he still has about the Megaverse, so many things that he hasn't seen before, especially after seeing the Super Dragon Balls. It makes him wonder different things about the Namekians, because there had to be a Namekian that created those ones, right? It could be interesting to look into. But as he's meditating, he hears voices in his head. Voices of the Namekians that have been long fused into him, such as Saunao and Pirina, as well as Nail, who's the main one at the forefront.
Right.
There's dozens of voices, all from the Dragon
Well, I
Planet
know the
and
main
Warrior
one.
Race.
Nail the weakest one.
But
ain't it?
Nail's voice speaks
I'm
up.
flying.
If he'd like to learn more about Namekian history, there is one more thing that he should know about it. One thing that may be deep in his memories, but something that he'd never thought of. Has he ever heard the tale of Lord Slug? No, Piccolo hasn't.
Lord
He can learn more about Zama
Slug.
later. Looks like he's going to have to go through the rest of Namek's history first. And remember, this is 2 Nameks, not just Universe 7. And that's where the history of Universe 6's Namek comes in. Far back, there was an old, wise, yet evil Namekian, originating from Universe 6. It makes sense that
Lord
Piccolo didn't know about this,
Slug.
at
That's
least not
funny.
until now. This didn't have anything to do with the history of his Namek from Universe 7. But millennia ago, before the Universal merge, this Namekian existed. He's been searching for the Super Dragon Balls for a while. He tried using Namek's Dragon Balls, trying to gain unstoppable power. The warriors fought him off, banishing him from the planet. But his quest for the Super Dragon Balls still continued, unbeknownst to the rest of the Namekians. They don't know much from beyond that. They don't even know if Lord Slug is still alive. But with the Universal merge, it might have been easier for him to gather the Super Dragon Balls, if at all possible. At the very least, there would probably be more planets with Namekians on them. Which is good because any Dragon Balls will help him towards his conquest.
Right.
And it turns out, Slug is still out there. Over all these years, Slug has visited various planets, trying to extend his life as much as possible. And at one point he did get a set of Dragon Balls from a smaller planet, able to wish for eternal youth. That planet's Namekian destroyed the Dragon Balls, forcing Slug to find another. He found another dragon, but it was unable to find the location of the Super Dragon Balls. But Slug at least has eternal youth now, and far more knowledge than ever before. But after all this time, he finally has a way to find them. He just needed to locate one of them, and that would have let him find the others. He would be able to create some sort of device to locate them. And that's exactly how this arc helped him. Slug has been keeping a close track of the constellations. He knows the location of everything in this universe. Every star, every planet, anything that could be Super Dragon Ball sized. And he notices that 7 giant bodies have shifted. The Super Dragon Balls are dormant for so long that they blended in with everything. But of course, he could see that Super Shenron was summoned. He could feel it. And he noticed 7 suspicious celestial bodies moving around. Those must be the Super Dragon Balls.
Right.
He just needs to find one of them. And even though it's unusable for now, he can gather its signature, using that to find the rest in another year. It takes a bit, but he's tracked down one of them. And now all he needs to do is wait 1 year. And unlimited power will be in his hands. This is where we'll leave off for now.
Adding Lord Slug is crazy. Okay, I would Lord Slug in a what if story. I have never. Saiyan, you have done it, my boy. You have done it. I ain't never thought of putting Lord Slug in the story. I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see what you do with that right there. And I like this right now. I like Beerus and Champa, putting in work, actually fighting, not being just standby characters. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all the god of destruction. Do something, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Ultra Piccolo and Gohan with Ultra Instinct is crazy. That's funny. And then, anyway, you want to watch the last part to the story, it'll be right here. And you know what I'm saying? Some other what if story right here. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.